bought a second-hand desk. Now I've got a nice second-hand chair. I've worked out that you can use an old iPhone as a webcam and get some really good images, and invested a little bit of money, about 700 Rand, in a really good microphone. I recommend you get one. You can buy them anywhere, but they do work for you all the time. Okay, what you can expect. First of all, I'm going to tell you about turning your story into a script. I highly recommend, particularly in the beginning, that you don't simply whip out your camera and start filming, that you actually have a script. Once you have a script and a story to tell, you can then work out a shot sheet that you want to get right. So after that, I'll talk to you about how to record your voice or your narrative on your phone, what mobile gear I recommend that you buy. I'm going to take you through Quick, which is my go-to editor on the fly when I need something really fast, particularly an event or some little thing that I'm at and I need to put out a video just like literally in 2 or 3 minutes. I'm able to do so on Quick, and it's a brilliant little free app. Then I'm going to talk to you about setting up your filming app. Now, whether or not you use the filming app I'm going to show you or not, it's going to be more or less the same. You might have some extra features, some fewer features, but I'll tell you about them. Then I'm going to talk to you about shooting your actual footage and how to do that. Then we'll go through some editing using VLLO. Then I'll talk about your soundtrack, where to get music, and then I'll talk about producing and using your own video. And then finally, I'm going to show you the video that I made in about 30 minutes using the same techniques that I have that I've spoken about now. So first of all, we're going to take this from story to script and where it all goes. So the very first thing you really need to understand about yourself, your company, whatever it is, you need to understand what your brand positioning statement is. And your brand positioning statement is the way that you or your company want to be seen by other people. Because until you understand what your brand positioning statement is, whatever you put on the video is going to be like kind of fly by night. I'm not really sure. So the first exercise I always get my clients to do, and Gary will appreciate this one because he's busy doing it right now, is you take a big piece of paper, and on top of the piece of paper, you simply write the words "to." Then a few lines below that, you write the word "seeking," then the words "we offer," and then finally "reason to believe." So quite simply, in the "to," this is where you describe your target market. So let's say, for example, you are a kosher caterer that sells home meals. So then you'd say, "to Jewish families living within 10 kilometers of my home who would like to," so you describe the actual target market. Then seeking, what it is that they're looking for, not what you offer yet, what they're looking for. So what are they seeking? They're seeking convenient, fast, affordable meals, seeking fast, convenient, affordable, tasty meals. You work through it a few times. Then we offer what it is that you offer as a brand, as a person, as a company. And then finally, the reason to believe. And too many people do it the other way around. They say like, "Hi, my name is Mike Said. I'm from Brand Strategy, and I've been in this business for 25 years. In the meantime, the guy's in the back of his mind is saying, "So what, so what, so what?" If I started off by saying to you, "Hi, my name's Mike Said. I help you sell more stuff to more people for more money, more often, more efficiently. When would you like me to start?" There's a pretty good chance we'd be starting today. So first of all, before you even start your video, just make sure you have in your own mind your brand positioning statement. The next step is then to actually write your script. So let's say I want to do an introduction to my company. So first of all, the first question I'm going to ask is, who am I? What is my company? Then what is my story? Then what it is that I do and why I do it. And then what inspires me and what's my goal. And I find that if I use those 4 to 6 questions as my guideline, I can write a script for any small business telling people what they want. So kind of if I were to fill it in for myself, you'll see there, my name is Mike Said. I'm a Johannesburg-based content creator. I've embraced video as a sure way to assist my clients to grow and scale their business. When I'm not jumping off cliffs out of perfectly good airplanes or sliding along some thin piece of wire suspended over the cliff, I'm constantly looking for ways to help them sell more stuff to more people for more efficiently and more often. Then once I've written my answer to each one of those, I go to the right-hand side and I kind of in my head create the scene that I want. So I'm going to start off with an intro of me talking directly into the camera. Then I'm going to cut to a conversation with a client. And if I haven't got that, I'm going to use some stock footage for anything that I haven't got myself. And you can get great stock footage on Canva if you don't want to, if you don't want to spend too much money on it. There's some really nice stuff there. Then I'm going to show skydiving clip, and then I'll work through my entire clip list. So I know in order what I want to present, what it is I want to say, and how I'm going to graphically represent it. Remember, that's what your video is doing. Your video is going to graphically represent the words that you've chosen. There's some things you might reinforce about what you do. I'm a visual storyteller. I talk about how I engage with my clients, what inspires me, what I hope will inspire them. And only once I've written the script do I then come even close to actually starting the video itself. So let's see if I can move this out the way so I can see with me. So next, now I've got myself a script and I'm ready, and this is my script and I want to record it. So recording your narrative. First of all, you can record it on your phone. Your phone really is a good enough device. The microphones are strong enough. Just a couple of things that you might want to do, for example, is you want to, right now, when you listen to me, you might find that it's a little bit hollow. So I've ordered some foam to put on my wall next to me to stop this bounce. So what I do is I go and stand in front of a very soft curtain or in a room with a lot of furnishings. Don't stand in a big empty room like your dining room with nothing on the walls and where all the sound bounces off. Stand about 1 meter away from a curtain. I would recommend that you don't hold the phone, that you actually put the phone on a tripod so you don't get the noise of you touching it. And then I would start recording. One of the tricks I learned really early was not to stop recording even when I make mistakes. So what I tend to do when I make a mistake is I start 1 or 2 sentences before that. To make it really easy for yourself, you might do one of these things. For example, you might want to get yourself a teleprompter, and you can download them from the iStore or from the Google Play Store. My go-to teleprompter is something called PromptSmart. I use that all the time. I was prepared to pay for it. It was about 200 Rand. Sometimes when I'm using an app, I just realize that paying the money is just beneficial to me. The guys who build these apps deserve them. They do great work. I can save more. I kind of assess each one of my things that I do. But there are plenty of them. There's something called teleprompter. You can download your own green screen checker there, anything you want. But what I like most about PromptSmart is that I can see myself while I'm speaking. I can then also, it's voice activated. So while I'm speaking, that's the pace that the words move at. Most of the other ones, you set your pace to 21 words per minute or 23, depending how fast you talk. But all of this available to you. Play with it. It really does make delivering a message so much easier. And also what it prevents is the story where people are looking down all the time. Every time they want to read some notes, then they stop and they look down and then they stop or they look to the side. This one, you know more or less where your little camera is on your phone. Try and keep your eye focused on that. Although obviously you'll be looking at the words a little bit, make a huge difference to how you go. So now once you've recorded all of this, you're then going to have this long piece of, you might have 3 or 4 minutes worth of a recording, but you actually only want it to be 90 seconds or something like that. So the way to cut it, there are 2 ways you can do. The first one is to go to a website called 123apps.com. And in 123apps.com, you will find some amazing free applications, an audio cutter, an audio joiner, an audio converter. So let's say you've got a WAV file and you need an MP3 or the other way around, or you want to join 2 pieces that you shot in different locations. You can do all of this on 123apps.com live and then download it. If you're prepared to go through a slightly higher learning curve, I recommend audacityteam.org. Audacity is a remarkable, but I mean remarkable piece of free software. Just do yourself a favor, take the giant leap, download Audacity, learn to cut and edit your film, your sounds, learn to remove background sounds. Very simple way to remove. So you're sitting there, suddenly there's a car goes past or someone screams in the background. Well, I shouldn't say screams in the background. Someone starts laughing in the background. You can remove background sounds with that. So those are 2 great apps. You also might want to, for example, try and get a voiceover. So for example, you might feel that your own voice is not suitable either for the audience, or you just don't like the sound of your own voice, which many of us don't do, because the little secret is why you never sound like you do is when you speak, you hear yourself through the audio vibrations in your ear canal, whereas when you hear it from a speaker, it comes straight in through your ear, and you sit there and the first thing you say to yourself is, oh my God, do I really sound like that? It's like the same first time you see yourself on a Zoom call and you go, does my chin really look like that? What if I lift the camera a bit higher up? But that's where we go. So when I want to do a voiceover, I go to Fiverr. That's FIVERR.com. It's a phenomenal reference for small business owners who literally want to get anything done. Have videos made, have a video intro made. I see Alana's on today. We did a video intro for her recently. I do my own video intros there. And also this guy, Nicholas Manny, is my go-to guy for the voice that I want for most of my clients. He's a young Black South African, speaks extremely clearly, delivers. I've literally done hundreds of projects with him, delivers on time, brilliantly every single time, great communication. But you will find others there. If you're looking for a Spanish or an Israeli or whatever, you'll find them on Fiverr, and you can get it done really, really fast. Next is, what kind of mobile gear should you be buying? So the first thing is, I really recommend that you do buy yourself a tripod, whether it's a small little table tripod or another one. What you really want to do, the most important part of the tripod is that little thing on the top there, and that's where you fit in your phone, and you can hold your phone. With a small desktop tripod like this one, you can't tilt it very much. So I would recommend, if you're prepared to buy yourself a tripod, is to go on to Take-A-Lot. You'll find a tripod like the one I've indicated there for about 250 Rand, and you'll be able to find a very good phone holder, one that actually adjusts in size, and that'll cost you probably about 75 Rand, so in for about 350 Rand for your setup. As I said, that's the kind of thing that you want to buy. You can go into any phone shop, you can buy one there. If you go to the fancier camera shops, you can buy these adjustable ones, a little bit stronger. You can even buy one that loops around. And recently on a deal a day, I bought one for Sasha that actually tracks your face. So while she's doing her TikTok, if she moves from side to side, the camera actually swivels and moves with her. That was about 300 Rand. It's a Bluetooth, it's Bluetooth activated, and certainly also a great investment from there. The next thing is the sound. There's a lot of people will tell you that people will watch bad video, but they really will not listen to bad sound. You cannot have poor sound on your videos. So I highly recommend that you splurge a little bit and you get yourself a decent microphone. If you're going to be standing away from your camera and speaking to it, these are called lav mics or lapel microphones. They go from about 200 Rand up to about 800 Rand, depending what you want to do. The most important thing with the lav microphone is to understand that the microphone jack has to fit your particular phone. That's very, very important. And if you look at my first image up here and you notice these two little things here, you'll see that one of them has 3 sleeves and one of them has 4 sleeves. So you get 3 and 4 sleeves. For a phone, you need a 4 sleeve. And the reason for that is that your phone jack differs from a musical output jack in that it has the microphone and sound coming off the same thing. If you decide to take it a little bit more seriously, you could actually buy yourself a proper little recorder. I have one here on my desk with me. There it is, the same one that I'm showing you over there. That's for really when you start getting to slightly more professional sound. But right now, as beginners, don't worry about it, but I do recommend a microphone. So the first thing is, my real go-to app is a little app called Quick. When I need something on the fly, when I need to illustrate something that doesn't have a voiceover, I just want to show some action. I'm at a client's event, doing a Jerusalem dance, which thank God now seems to have stopped right up there with the Macarena and Despacito or whatever it was. I walk into a shop and I hear the Jerusalem dance and I just turn around and walk out. Pretend I've left my mask in the car. Doesn't really matter. I'm just out of there. So I highly recommend it. You can download it on your phone. It comes from, just let me see if I'm going on the right one. Oh, come on. It comes from, sorry, let me just go back one. So my go-to app is a little app, as I said, called Quick. It's made by GoPro and it's 100% free. Nothing quite like it. So pretty simply, open my video, open there, click on the plus button at the bottom, decide. So what I tend to do is I tend to put things on my phone. It's try and put them into groups. So if I'm shooting something, I give it its own title and I move all the pictures into this. So for example, when I wanted to make this particular skydive video, I created a video called I created a folder called Skydive so that I could find my images all the time and didn't have to go through them all the time. And one of the reasons that I like to do that is when I'm working with clients, they tend to look over my shoulder while I'm looking at my phone, and I really don't want them seeing some of the other images that are on my phone. But we'll leave that story for another time. So I'll go into the skydiving folder. Sorry, just carry on playing that. I'll open quick, click on the plus button, go into the skydiving folder, look for it, or any other folder that you've got. Pick the elements that I want. I'll just, by tapping my finger on them, I'll decide on the order that I want them. If I have got them in the wrong order, it's no problem. I can quickly go back and reorder them by dragging and dropping them around. I pick my stills, combination of stills and video. Once I've done all that, I literally go to the top and I click Add 3. And the software starts to edit on its own. That's the best part. It starts giving me some options. I can decide if I want it cinema or square. I can choose the music. I can choose the look and feel that I want. Do I want it high action? Do I want it cinematic? But it's using artificial intelligence, and I'm going to let the software run itself. I can add some basic titles to it. Oh, shoot, sorry, keep hitting the wrong button. I can then also decide on the duration that I want. So depending where I'm going to use the video, I can decide if it's perfect for Instagram, perfect for a quick video, or do I want something a bit longer, but I get to choose that as well. I can drag the videos around to different orders, edit them, edit the length, do whatever I want. What I'm doing is I'm deciding whether or not the music should have the main thing, or if there's some background sounds that I want to play. Once I've decided on the length, I'm going to make this a 29-second video, I simply go back, press save, hit photo library, wait a few seconds for my video to download. And the best part of this is that I can supply a client with a video on the go immediately. And I need to tell you, we're living in an age where fast and good beats great and quick every single time when it comes to marketing. And once I've done all of that, I've saved it, I've downloaded it, I can go back, make another copy of the same video, and for this one I can change the sound, I can change the duration. So I get to do all this multiple editing. So just to go back one more time, when it comes to format, that's one of the things you'll have to decide depending on where you're going to use the video. If you're going to use the video on YouTube, then definitely the cinema format, or what's known as 16:9. If you're going to use it on an Instagram post, then you'll go with the square format because that's what fits on Instagram. And if you're going to put as your Instagram story, then you'll go on 19:6, which is kind of the phone size that you're seeing in front of you right now. So that'll be determined, the size of your video is determined by your audience and where you want to use it. So when all that's done and I've saved it and I've decided what I want, then quite simply, I produce my video. And just by, this is the video that I made in literally the 30 seconds it took to do that edit. So what was remarkable about that video is that I was given a free skydive in return for video, and I was able to edit it and post it within a couple of seconds. So now it's time to do the normal, how you would set up your normal filming application. Now I keep on my phone a number of applications. For example, I've got something there called Filmic Pro, which I pay for, which is really excellent. I have another one there called iMotion. And what iMotion does is it helps me to shoot stop motion video. So for example, if I want to show something that happens over a long time really quickly, for example, even a flower opening, or maybe a cake rising or something being baked, I can set up my phone, I can leave it there, I can set the timer, and I can turn that into a video as well. A little thing called 8mm, that's kind of my fun go-to one. If I want to make a retro video, then I'd make it there. I use hyperlapse, I'm on TikTok, everything like that. But the one that we are going to speak about right now is this one here called Pro Movie. Because Pro Movie isn't like, it's studio quality shooting for free on your phone. But it does help understanding a few things about Pro Movie before you start doing it. As you open Pro Movie, this is kind of what your screen will look like. Looking outside from my patio, you'll see all these numbers, a little bit confusing, but I'm going to take you through the ones that count. The first thing I do when I open it up is I click on the gear or settings icon, whatever they call it on the different phones, but it's always the little gear, you know that. And then this opens up in front of you. And what I've clicked on, just to save myself some time, is I've clicked on advanced stabilization. In other words, I wanted to trying to cut out some of the camera jitter. And I always shoot, everywhere I shoot on any phone, on any device, I always have my grid on, also known as the rule of thirds. So that I know when someone's in the middle, I know when their eyes are on the top third line, I know when I need to move them over a little bit to the right because I'm going to add something on the left of them. It's kind of my go-to thing. I would certainly always put on the grid before I even start. To do that, you just click on overlays, you click on grid, and then you'll have these green lines, and also, as I say, what is known as the rule of thirds. The next thing you want to do is decide what kind of footage you want to shoot. What size am I shooting and what frame rate I'm going to shoot? And I'll explain a bit about that. And you'll find that by tapping on the 1080p and the 24 frames per second. Once you tap on that, once again, you can set up your aspect ratio. Now, I always shoot in 16:9, never 4:3. 4:3 is kind of the old TV set. 16:9 is this long landscape thing. It's beautiful. I find that shooting in 1080 is absolutely perfect. I can shoot up to 4K, which is really cinema quality, but very seldom I want to use up that much memory on my phone, and it slows everything down a bit. So I can tell you right now, default to 1080, and you won't be sorry. You'll always have great video every time. On using a frame rate, all your phones, if you use the normal phone, as you open it, it's shooting at 30 frames per second. What this does is allows you to shoot at 24 frames per second, which makes it a little more real to the eye. If you're not in cinema and photography, you might not even notice the difference, but my default setting is 24, 25, or 40. You could jump as high as 120 or 60 if you want to shoot some slow motion, and then edit that in with your other thing. And then I always shoot on 100 megabytes per second. I shoot on max. I'd rather downgrade it later and find out that I shot something and now I don't have good enough footage. So as I said, my go-to footage, 16:9, always 1080. I'm always shooting on 24 frames per second, and I'm shooting on maximum definition. So the next thing that's offered to me is I can now adjust my shutter speed. In other words, how much light will be let in each time one of those frames is taken. And a really good rule for video is that your shutter speed should be double your frame rate. So as you can see there, my frame rate is 24 frames per second. I set my shutter to 48 frames per second. If my frame rate is 30 frames per second, I'll set my shutter to 60. If I'm shooting at 60, I'll set my shutter to 120. So just remember to always double your frames per second into your shutter speed. So it'll just really help you. The next thing is your ISO, and that's how much light is allowed in at any particular time. Kind of go-to one is you can just set that at 100. There's not really a lot you have to do with that. Set it at 100. If there isn't enough light, on the right-hand side, you can see the ISO. You can drop it, you can increase it. You'll watch the color on the screen change fractionally, the amount of light being let in. But go to 24 frames per second, shoot at 48, ISO 100. The next thing you're allowed to set for yourself is your white balance. And with my white balance, I always set on auto white balance. I don't even mess around with anything. The only time I might mess around with it is if I'm shooting on multiple cameras at the same time. I will set one of them to auto, which will tell me that it's 4516 Kelvin. That's what I'm shooting at. And then I'll go and set all the other cameras to match that one. But I don't think anyone's come on here today to learn how to shoot multiple things at the same time. Let the camera decide, set it to auto, and I promise you, you won't be sorry. The next thing you're able to do is to actually set the exposure in a particular area. And that's very important if you're, for example, shooting action and people are walking in front of the camera all the time. Because as they walk in front, if you don't set the exposure, it's suddenly going to get darker and lighter and darker and lighter as you do that. And by clicking on that little square block that you'll see in the middle there and moving it around with your finger, you can pick a particular area. So for example, I want to take my exposure from just on the corner of the plant, or I might want to take it from the sky. Wherever you do it, that's no problem. You can move the exposure, and then you can also, once you've set the exposure, you can lock the exposure by tapping on that little thing. Then what you do is the video doesn't change all the time. You've set it. That's also great if you're shooting something in a sunset where the light behind someone is changing all the time. You'll lock the exposure on their face and not let the sun interfere with that at that particular time. Next is there's a zoom ability, and you control your zoom with the slider bar on the right-hand side over here. So simply sliding up and sliding down, that's how you'll adjust the zoom. Just to give you some example. Before I get on to the example of the zoom, the next thing you can focus and you can lock on is focus. So let's say I'm doing an interview with someone. In fact, I was watching the chief rabbi this morning on his call last night, and accidentally his camera was actually focusing on the bookshelf behind him. So he himself was out of focus a lot of the time, and I kept wanting to go and adjust it. But you can set the focus on something in particular and then lock it. So for example, what I'm shooting over here in the focus is I'm shooting this plant, but at the same time on the table in front of me, really close to me, I have a Coke bottle. And I can decide by sliding the slider up and down over here, I can then decide that I want to have the Coke bottle in focus or the plant in focus. And that's where you'll see how important that is when you're shooting products or you're shooting interviews. So you pick which one you want to lock on, and then you decide, you slide it up and down until you find where you want, and then lock focus on what you want to do. As you can see, it's locked there, and the plant's completely out of focus. So where are we up to here? We're going to look at exposure. Once again, I now want to take the exposure from the bottle. So I've tapped the focus and the exposure ring. They're both sitting there on my bottle, both locked so they can't move. I don't want to take, if I were to take my exposure from that water feature background over there, what it would do is it would over brighten and completely blow out the Coca-Cola bottle that's shot in front of me over there. So as I said, I've taken my focus there. And when I'm ready, I simply press the record button. That's as simple as it is. And as you press the record button actually then locks to a square, so it's no longer round, and then you'll know that you're able to that you are recording. Once you finish recording, whatever you've recorded right at the end, you'll see a little play button at the bottom there. You pick the play button, all your videos that you shot on that particular day will come up. No problem. You click on them and you then save them. So you don't want to save them all. So you might have shot 20 videos of which you're only going to use 5. No problem. Save those 5 to your camera roll, delete the rest, make some space. But you can save these as long as you like. I just tend to run out of memory, so I try and keep my my phone as clean as I possibly can. You can simply choose the one you want. That's it. Shooting footage, simple as that. Here's some real tips before you start shooting. First of all, clean the lens. So many people don't do this. I look at a picture and I know straight away that they just simply haven't taken a piece of their shirt or cloth or a scarf, or nowadays with your mask. Just take it and wipe it across the lens. You're not going to scratch the lens. Those are highly scratch resistant lenses. And give it a little clean, you'll get a much better look. Watch the light. See where the light's coming off. Is it bouncing off someone? Is there strong light coming from behind someone that you can't actually see them? Stay as steady as you possibly can. As I said, whenever possible, just move as little as possible. If you are going to pan and you want to move around, try and move in really, really gentle moves around. Don't let them jerk if they want to look around the screen, but don't force them to by moving the phone around really rapidly. Just one more thing. If you start shooting in portrait style, in other words, with your phone standing straight up and you're meant to shoot with your phone in landscape, stop, turn the phone and start again. It won't help you to turn the phone while you're shooting. All you will now get is a really small image in the middle of the camera, and it'll be the wrong way around, and you'll just have editing headaches. You can overcome these things in post-production, in editing, but where possible, just shoot in the format that you want it to be. So, and it's most of the time you're going to shoot in cinema style and not in portrait style. Wherever possible, use a tripod. Don't try and hold the phone yourself unless there's an effect that you want to get. So for example, if I want to make it look like I'm doing an interview, then I might hold the phone out in front of me deliberately so that I can move it slightly and show a little bit of the background. So for example, hi everyone, I'm standing here in front of this magnificent building, and then I'll be able to move myself around slowly just so that you can see more of the building. But most of the time, I really want it on a tripod all the time. Another beginner's tip, start early, finish late. Press record, count to 3, then start speaking, stop speaking, count to 3, then press stop. Otherwise, you're going to find that you're cutting yourself out all the time. Same with when I'm doing an interview of somebody else. I set the camera up, I press record, I show them with my hand, 1, 2, 3, go, and I allow them to record because they're so anxious to start speaking that they will more than likely start speaking before you've even pressed the record button, then you have to start again. Another recommendation is reshoot a couple of those scenes a few times. Shoot 2 interviews of the same person, even with yourself. Shoot of yourself speaking twice. You might prefer the one. The light might be better. You might sound more convincing to yourself. The light might be better. So reshoot it a couple of times. And then most importantly, experiment, experiment, experiment. Play with your footage. In fact, my recommendation is as we finish this thing, go and shoot an interview with yourself. Go write a small little script and make your first video. Because as I'm going to explain a bit later on, that first video you make is more than likely going to be cuck. And the second one's going to be a little less cuck and then a little less until eventually you're making pretty good videos. Ones that you're confident of but you need to get it wrong. Well, you don't need to get it wrong, but you're probably going to get it wrong in the beginning. And the sooner you get that experimenting out of the way, the better for you. Now you've got all this footage and you need to start editing. And now we get to the tricky part. And that's how do I edit my footage and how do I put this together into a 30-second or 1-minute video that works for me. So let me just tell you, we're going to cover a lot of things and we're going to cover them quite quickly. We are going to cover, come on. Oh, there we go. We're going to cover organizing your folders, how to put your stuff in the place where you can find them. Then I'm going to tell you about how to start your very first project. Then how to choose your clips, how to select them from what you shot, how to reorder them in case you've made a mistake, how to add clips or images. Let's say you left one out or you suddenly realize, sorry, please tell my brother, we'll talk a bit later. You can add clips or images. How to flip or rotate your videos. Sometimes it might be because you shot it in the wrong format. Other times you might want to literally have a little bit of fun and show someone walking in a room upside down or however you want it. I'll teach you how to split a video when you've got a video that's quite long and you only want to use a small portion of it, how to split the video, how to delete portions of the video, adjust the speed of a clip. That's another kind of fun thing to do. You might want to slow something down completely to show some slow motion, or you might want to speed it up to show that this is what happened, but it happened in a much quicker time. Once again, for example, like when you're baking or something along that thing. I'll teach you even how to reverse a video just for a little bit of fun. So for example, you're shooting a product, you're shooting a cold drink pouring into a glass. You might want to have a bit of fun by having the cold drink then jump out of the glass and back into the bottle, or champagne going back in a bottle, or you've got a burst balloon and you want to show the burst balloon, then you want to show the balloon coming back together again on its own. They're just little fun things to do. I'll show you how to simply trim a video, how to mute the sound on a particular clip. So for example, if you're going to do some voiceovers, then you'll rather want to mute the sound in that clip and not have it in the background. I'll teach you how to duplicate or delete a video. Let's say you want to show the same scene twice, maybe once forward and once backwards. And then we'll talk about transitions, and that's how to shift between 2 clips. So you get, for example, jump transitions, which are just simply a cut and then the next video starts. But if you're shooting something quite scenic, you might want to use a fade or some special transition. They're all built in there. I'll teach you how to zoom in and zoom out of a video or a still picture if you want to focus on a particular person in the audience, or you want to draw your viewer's attention to something. I'll teach you how to add a title, add your voiceover, add some music, and then finally how to produce and use it. Now, the way I've done this is you're going to see screenshots of me working on my phone at the same time. So I'll pause every now and again to talk you through. The comment I always get afterwards is, Mike, that's so unfair, you made it look so easy. But I want to tell you right now, it is as easy as it's going to look. The difference is that I've probably done up to 10,000 hours of shooting and editing and everything like that, whereas you guys are going to be new and you're going to be finding your way through it. It's going to take you longer to find points but practice, 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 and play. That's all. Play, play, play. So step number one, I highly recommend that you organize your videos and images. Start using folders more than you are right now. Don't keep everything your recent, everything your favorites. Create little folders like gym routine, skydive, your client's name, however you want to name them, and put the footage that you want so you're not looking for it later on. It speeds up your workflow, and workflow just becomes increasingly important nowadays. So just click on it, create a new album, give the album a name. I think I do that eventually. Give the album a name, save the album. So this is, for example, I created one called the Auto Video. Simple as that. Then I go find a couple of videos that I want. I click on those videos with my finger. I just touch on those particular videos. There they are, the 6 of them. And then I put add done, add to album. And there we go. They're in that album. I can find them now without having to search through all my videos of everything that I want. There's now my Auto Video album that I've created. So that's the first part of the workflow that's going to make life a hell of a lot easier for you. Next is you want to start doing your editing. Now, if you're not going to use VLLO, most editors work in more or less the same way. So for example, you might use iMovie, or you might even work with Quick. You can use InShot. A lot of people use InShot. It's a small, simple little application, not quite as powerful as VLLO. If you have a Adobe subscription, you might have Premiere Rush on your phone. It's highly technical, hard to work on. In fact, I try and avoid it where I can. My real go-to app most of the time is I actually use something called Video Leap, but I've paid for that. That cost me about 900 Rand as a once-off payment. But I can tell you that VLLO for free is almost as good as Video Leap that I'm paying for. So had I maybe found VLLO first, I wouldn't have even had VLLO. But that's our go-to app. We are going to use VLLO. So how to start a project? Quite simply, open the application, click on VLLO, and then, so let's go back a fraction. Up at the top there, it says create a video. Pretty simple. Click on create a video, and then all your footage will come up in front of you. You can look at all, or you can go to the folder that you've created so that only the images you're looking for are in that particular folder. Or for example, you might want to start off with an insert a black back screen. So you want to start off with a black screen with a title on it, and you're going to fade from that into the image. But whatever you decide, all you do is you simply click on the videos that you want, preferably in the order that you want them. You'll see them popping up along the bottom there. And then once you've chosen the ones you want, you can then decide. It'll ask you what aspect ratio you want to shoot in once again. So you have a choice once again, 1:1 square for Instagram, 4:5. I've never found a use for it just yet. 16:9, my kind of go-to. 19:6, and it shows you illustrated how the picture will come out. So let's say a client wants an Instagram story or a Facebook story, then I'm certainly going to shoot it in 19:6 instead of 16:9. And there are other aspects like 2:1 and 2:35, but I wouldn't even delve into that. It's for shooting real formatted stuff. And then content mode, do I want it to fit, full, or center? I always put full. I can always adjust the size of it later on. That means if one of my videos is a little bit smaller than all the others, it will automatically expand to that one. Once I've selected all of those, click the arrow at the top, and I'll wait while VLLO loads my videos for me. And I can scroll through and I can see that I've actually got all the videos that I selected, and they are there, and they're in the order that I selected them. But now while I'm doing this, I realize that I've uploaded the videos I want, but I've actually got, I wanted the one scene before the other scene, or I wanted this part of the interview before the other part. We agreed. I need to move them around. That's pretty simple. So how to reorder the clips? Simply click on the clips, long click on them. When you long click on them, they'll open. Then by holding them down with my finger, I simply can drag and drop them from one space to another. So I can make number 1, number 2. I can make number 4, number 3. I can move them around, simple as that. Once I'm happy that I've now got them in the order that I want, I just simply click on the save button at the bottom there, and we just move on from there. Okay, so that's how to reorder the clips. There are other ways to do it as well in reordering. I can hold them down with my finger while I'm doing it, and I can do it on the screen as well. Sorry, I jumped ahead of myself. This is how to add clips. I now decide, let me just go back here. I've decided that I want to add a clip between those two. I'm missing one clip. No problem. I click on the one that I want to keep. I then hold my mouse down, look for the end. Hold on 1 second. Go back into my clips. Find the one clip that I want to add to that. There it is. Press OK, and it'll load it and insert it in that particular place where it was for me. That's how easy it is. Have a bit of fun, play around, and have a look at that. So now I've got all my clips. I've added the ones I want. I know what my story wants to look like. The first thing I want to do now is I want to flip, rotate, and split some videos. So I'm going to look at these videos. For example, this particular one, the woman's hand is coming in from my right-hand side across the table to the left-hand side where the glass is. But because of where I want to put my titles, I actually want to make it look like she's coming in from the other side and not from this side. So very easy. I'll simply click on it. Along the bottom, you'll see the flip buttons. There they are. I can flip the X or Y, and it shows you don't even have to know what X and Y are. Flipping X means I actually turn it upside down, and flipping Y means I reverse it left to right. So I can then change my clip. Just let it play through. Go to this clip. Same story. Might want to flip it, rotate it. That's no problem. I might, for example, on this one, want to split the video. So this particular video is a little bit long. So let's go back to the end there and then pause it. If this particular video is a little bit long, I might want to split it. I'll come to the point where I want to split the video, hit the split button. And then once I've split the video, I then might decide that I want to delete a portion of it. Now, I've got this very long video clip. I'm looking at it. I found the exact spot where I want it to stop. I click with my finger on the video. There's exactly the point I want it to stop as he's laughing. I then click on the split button. That'll split the video. I split it again because I only want that little portion of his. Or I look at this back portion and say, this is the one I don't want. No problem. All I do is I hit the delete button. So I'm going to go through that a little bit slowly with you quickly. Just let me pause that. I find the spot where I want the video to start. I hit the split button. By hitting the split button, it divides the video into 2 pieces. I then go to the first piece, which I don't want anymore. I make sure that that piece is highlighted. You can see it's in blue. And I hit the delete button to remove it. And the video will automatically move the piece that I want to the place that it was. And you'll see that coming up over there. There we go. I've deleted a portion of the video. Okay, now I want to adjust the speed of a clip. I've got a particular clip and it just seems to be taking too long. I'm a little bit short on time. I'll use it as a scene in the background. Very simple. Once again, find the video that I want. For example, this guy here, I'm going to look at this video over here. I want to make this a bit quicker. All I do is I look down here for the word speed, and then I drag the speed up or down. So I can make it twice as fast, half as slow, whatever I want. In this particular case, I think I'm going to speed it up a little bit. No problem. I'll move it to about 2.5. I can also see I can also see that by doing that, the length of the video clip itself comes down or goes up. So for example, if I were to slow it down, you'll see that video clip over there. By speeding it up, I made sure the video is only 11 seconds long. I might want to time that with a particular piece of voiceover. But as complicated as it seems, once you start playing and once you start putting little piece of videos in there, you'll have some fun. You'll make plenty of mistakes, but make them now while they don't count and they practice, and not later on. Once again, that same video, I might want to slow it down completely to give him that effect that he's really turning around really slowly, maybe in the rain or whatever I want to add to it. And then once I've decided on the right speed, I'm very happy with that. The next thing I might want to do, for example, is reverse a video. So for a little bit of fun. So what I've taken here is a picture of the guys riding in front of me on a bicycle. And just for a little bit of fun, I want to see how it looks like if you were to ride backwards. So no problem. Once again, I find the little video clip, click on the video clip, scroll along the bottom until I find reverse. There it is, there's reverse. I simply click on reverse, leave it open while it processes. Obviously, the longer the video, the longer it'll take, or the shorter the video, the shorter it'll take. But nothing really takes too long. And there we go. So reversing a video is not something you're going to do very often, but you might want to do it for effect. And it's really fun to know that they've allowed in there. It's a great little thing. For example, if you're shooting a fun little video of your kids jumping into the pool, shoot them jumping into the pool, then duplicate the clip, and the other clip, shoot them jumping out of the pool. So you'll literally see them go into the water, splash close above them, then you'll see them all come out of the water and be standing there on the side of the swimming pool. It's a great little fun thing just to do and have a little bit of fun with. So that's how you reverse a video. Then you, for example, might want to trim that video. That video itself is too long for you. It's pretty simple. Hold your finger down at the end there where you see the blue line and drag it. Just slowly drag it back with your finger to where you want it to be. See, I want to cut the video right there. I decide where I want to cut it. I can either trim it, as I said earlier, and then delete that portion, or I can actually drag it back with my finger. You can see me moving there with my finger. So there are two ways to trim it. Use either one, pretty simple. So the next thing you might want to do is mute the sound on a particular clip. So this clip is very noisy. This is the skydiving one. This is the little video clip that I made with the music on it. I really don't want that music to be too loud. Once again, simply find your little video, click on it, look for the mute button. You'll find it over here. Click on the mute button, that removes the sound altogether. Or you might want to just take the volume down a little bit. In which case you don't mute it, you go to the volume, and you can either push the volume up or push the volume down. So that's how to mute a sound clip. Pretty simple. Now, what if you want to duplicate or delete a video? Once again, this is the one, remember I showed you of the guy in front of me cycling. What I want to do is have a bit of fun here. I'm going to show it here twice. So I'll click on that video. Whoever that was, I hope you're okay. And then I just find the duplicate button. I duplicate the video. They all look more or less the same. There's the duplicate button at the bottom. There's the video duplicated. I'm going to play the one backwards and the one forwards just for fun, just to see how it looks. Have a bit of fun. So as you can see with that particular video, I did most of the techniques here. I've duplicated the video, I've reversed the speed on the one, I've even slowed it down to slow motion because I think it just looks so much nicer riding through wilderness in slow motion. But every one of these little features, you can play with your clips. And once again, I'm going to tell you, play with your videos, learn as much as you can. It's really worth it. Okay, after deleting or duplicating, so now you've duplicated the video, you want to delete it, no problem. Now, almost the final thing that you need to learn is how to do these transitions. As you switch from video to video, you will notice that there's a sudden jump from the one scene to the next. You can see that. I'll just go back there. Sudden jump from the one to the next. Go back. Sudden jump from the one to the next. But what I want to try and do is I want to try and create a fade effect where the two go in between each other. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my finger down on that little button on the exact point of the transition. And then I get to choose from all these fade effects, from stretch, from swipe, from zoom. So I can make it zoom in and zoom out from one to another, depending on. So you try and match the effect that you want on your video. You try and match it with the style of video you're shooting. So for example, if you're shooting an action video outside, then you kind of want to have an action clip. If you're shooting something that's an interview, you might want to just have it fade from one to the other so that it doesn't draw too much attention away from the video. So no problem, you simply click it. In this particular case, I'm clicking a zoom, and you can see that. I'll just go back there quickly. So there we are, I pick it. I've chosen the zoom effect, which I think really works well in that particular one. It jumps into the restaurant and out to the guy's head. That's a particular fade. Here it is again. So because the camera's working away, it gives you that kind of fright and alerts you to the fact that I really want you to be looking at a different scene. There's nothing subtle about it at all. It's zooming in and zooming out of it, and then you can also zoom in and zoom out of the video. So for example, I'm looking at this guy and I feel that he's too far in the background. So what I'll do is I'll play the video, and then with my fingers, I will literally just drag the video as big or as small as I want it to be, and I'll reposition it by holding my two fingers on the video. So now I've no longer got this guy so far away. I've got him up close. He's more of the focus, not so much the graph that was running above his head. And that's how I've increased. And you might be shooting an interview where you really want to, where the person becomes very emotional. And you might then decide at that particular point that you want to zoom in. And the way you do that is to actually pick a point at which you're going to zoom in. So I've used this particular video as an example. I've got a guy that's laughing here. And at a point, I want to highlight the fact that it's him that's laughing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that exact point where he starts laughing. Okay, that's the point that I want. And then I'm going to, let me just pause this 1 second. I hit this button here called partial setting. And this little diamond appears on the timeline, which means that everything that happened up to the diamond is going to be one thing, and after the diamond is going to be something else. So I'm going to let the video run on a little bit. I'm going to find a scene a bit later on, and I'm going to hit the partial setting again to create another one there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in to him. So what I've now created is that the video is going to start off as it was, but during the video, he will automatically become the center of focus of this video as he starts to laugh. And the video does it for you automatically. I really want to highlight him. There's something about the way he was laughing that's kind of worked for me. I can zoom out again halfway through by putting another spatial setting in there, but sorry, partial setting. But that's how simple it is to zoom in and zoom out on a particular video. Find something that you really want to draw attention to and make that the hero of that particular scene. You no longer just have to sit there and click on the video. So that's zooming in and zooming out. Then the next thing you might want to do is add a title to your video. It's also really, really simple. I want to put his name there. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to go back fractionally for you. So what I'm doing is I've clicked on him there. I scroll up and down until I find the text or label, and I'm going to click on the text. On the text, I'm going to pick a style that I want, and you'll see that there are default styles there, some very fancy ones. Try not to use too much that draws attention. I'm not crazy about the yellow and purple and the stuff that flicks around. Find something with a nice background that sticks out over your particular video. So let's say I feel that that one doesn't stick out enough, but I'll show you changing it now. I can just add my name there, or anyone's name if I want to draw highlight to that guy. I look at it, I can say, yes, I want that to be long or I want it to be short. I can decide on what font I want to use. Simply by clicking on it, I can find a more formal font, something that matches more with the logo. I can also have the font do things. I can have it fade in and fade out. So now what I've created is a little video where, as it gets to him, As it approaches him, the name will fade in. And as I'm finished, you only need to see that for a few seconds. It'll fade out. I could put his title there. I could put absolutely anything I want there. That's how easy it is to add a title to it. Next, it's time now to add a voiceover. So you've done your voiceover separately and you've completed your video, and you now want to overlay your voice notes over this. There are two ways to it. One of them is you could actually record the voice while you're doing the video. So I could have the video open in front of me and I could voice record myself speaking. But I find that very, very difficult because what I'm doing is I'm trying to watch the speed of the clip and I'm watching the sound that's going on. I already have my soundtrack. I know that I'm actually going to match my video clips to my soundtrack, and I don't want to try and match my soundtrack to my video clips. But quite simple to add a voiceover. This is recording my own voiceover. Hit record, give myself a couple of second countdown. And record exactly what it is that I wanted to say over that particular thing. Play it back for myself just to hear it. Oh, sorry, I didn't record the sound on that one. But that's how easy it is to record your own voice. I can increase the volume of it. I can drop it down, make it more of a background noise. If I can fade my voice in and out if I want. If I find that it's just starting too suddenly. I could even split it if I wanted to, make it more background. But that's how easy it is to add a voice to it. That's if you're recording your own voice. If you already have a voiceover, it's even simpler. Simply go along to the scene. Add your voice from files. You've already got the file. No problem. Hit background noise. I can choose one of theirs. I can choose some sound effect that they want. I could, for example, pretend I'm in a coffee shop, or I can go to my files. I can find the recording that I've made. I can click on that in my files. There it is.
My name is Mike Said, and I'm teaching video editing for beginners.
Happy with the clip, put it in, find the place I want it to be, play around with it a couple of times just to make sure.
My name is Mike Said, and I'm teaching video editing for beginners.
That's how easy it is to add your voice from your files. And of course, you might want to add some background music as well. And a couple of things I'll talk about background music. If you are going to use it, you really need to make sure that your background music is not going to overshadow what's happening there. So if someone is telling a story, it is nice to have a little bit of music in the background, that just when he goes into the silent points, you can hear a little background, but don't let it be distracting. Never use sound music that's got lyrics in it, because you'll find the people concentrating on the lyrics and trying to hear that instead of what you're saying. So you keep it very soft. It's also very simple to do. Just go to the audio section, find the place where I want it to go, find a piece of their music. They've got so much royalty-free music. Go look for something that works for you. You'll find it in different headings. You'll find it in different lengths. But don't worry about the length, because you can always cut it. You can't really expand it. I can decide that I want to use memory 2. I drop memory 2 in. I can start with a fade, as I said earlier on. I want it to fade in over 2 seconds and then fade out again. I can drop the volume. That's how simple it is to add music to it. And then finally, now you've made your video, you've edited, you've reordered it, you've trimmed the ones you don't want, you've added sound, you've added starting titles, opening titles, end titles, anything you want. You've played around a million times. You've looked at, for example, filters. You can play with those. There's something here called picture in picture. So for example, I might have a presentation that I want appearing behind my head on the right-hand side. By hitting picture in picture, I can overlay 2 videos and move them around to the size that I want. But we're getting there, but play with it, play with it, play with it. I might want to filter it. I might want to take out some of the color. I might want to even make it black and white if I'm shooting some kind of documentary. By clicking on filter, I can simply add a filter there. But once I'm ready and it's time to produce and use the video, I'm very happy with what I want. Everything's working for me. I've tested it. I've got the words that I want. No problem. I just go up to the top there and I click produce. So let me just pause it here to show you how I produce. I always try and produce at a high definition, at full HD, the 1080 that I shot in it. But occasionally I want the video to be smaller. So for example, it's only going to be used on YouTube, or for example, I only want to see a sample of my video. This is not my final one. So I might then download in low resolution, keep the frame rate at 30 frames per second. I never have these funny little alarms on, but you're welcome to. If you want to put your phone down and go for a walk and only come back when it's ready, let it do that. And once you're ready, simply hit the export button. And there we go. You have actually produced a video for yourself and you're ready to go from there. What you're going to find every now and again is that you've made a video and it's just too big to send out. If you ever try to send a video on WhatsApp, and that's probably the way most of us are sending videos at the moment. If you've ever tried to send a video on WhatsApp and it'll only send a portion. So a portion of your video is yellow and the rest of the video is grayed out. What it means is that that particular video sitting on your phone is more than 16 gigabytes. And that is the limit for sending a video over WhatsApp from your phone. But what WhatsApp have done is, I'm sure you're all using web.whatsapp.com. If you're not, I highly recommend that you start using WhatsApp Web. And in WhatsApp Web, you can then send files up to 64 gigabytes big. So you get to send a much longer, higher quality video by first sending it from your desktop to your phone and then simply forwarding it from your phone. Not trying to save it and resend it, but by forwarding it. That's your trick. But if you still find that you've produced a video and it's 150 megabytes big, or whatever, it's just way out of the league that you want, no problem. You can go along and you can download a program called Handbrake. And Handbrake you can download at handbrake.fr. It's also 100% free. You can download, drag and drop any size video in there. You can you can probably download a 10-minute video, drop it in there and still make it small enough to send out on WhatsApp. That's how you do see some of these really big files. They're using really good file compression. The best one, as I found, is to use handbrake.fr. So my settings are my go-to settings. If you look on Monday, I send everything out Gmail large, 3 minutes, 7, 20, 30. I choose that as my default setting. I then decide where I want to save it. So for example, I'm using this one. I'm going to save this one on my desktop, and then I press start in code, and I will find a copy of this video in really good quality, but a much smaller file size that I can use. Obviously, if you're loading to Facebook or you're loading to YouTube, you do want to use your high definition videos. They rate them better. They look better on these things. You're not worried about the size because on YouTube you can load absolutely anything. So don't load small files on YouTube. Load your big files on YouTube and use these small ones to send out to your clients or to your potential clients or customers. You do them as smaller ones on WhatsApp. Just a word on choosing a suitable soundtrack for your video. Please, wherever possible, use royalty-free music. Don't use music that is licensed. What happens on YouTube is you get blocked immediately. If you do it too often, they might actually close your account. But what they do is they switch off the music and you receive notification. Or if it's a song like Jerusalem, you might receive notification to say that you can use the music, but you can't monetize it. You can't make any money on it at all. VLLO has a small but pretty good selection. Another place to get it is to go to YouTube. They have a really great selection. You can type in youtube.com/audio library/music, and you will find endless royalty-free music that you can use. You can search, let's say I'm shooting in the game reserve and I want an African sunset. I might search for Africa and find something that works there. Or I'm shooting a corporate DVD for a team builder, then I might want something that's a bit high-paced. So you kind of choose your music that suits the video that you want to send out. There are a couple of paid sites as well. There are places like Epidemic Sound and Audio Jungle. Just be careful. Very often when you buy from these guys, you think you're buying the music, but you're only really buying the right to use it. for a particular amount of time or while you have a subscription, which means that although you thought you've bought 200 songs, you might find that the moment you finish your monthly subscription, you can no longer use it. But please, wherever possible, do not use popular video. So what I did in the morning was just to give you some idea of how this could do. I took my particular script that I wrote, I got some shots, I edited this in, I shot, recorded, edited the whole video on my phone to show you what you're capable of doing in about 30 minutes once you know your way around the program. So this was my little video for this morning.
Hi all, my name is Mike Said, and I'm a Johannesburg-based content creator. I've embraced video as a way to assist my clients to grow and scale their businesses. When I'm not jumping off cliffs, out of perfectly good airplanes, or sliding along some thin piece of wire suspended over a cliff, I'm constantly looking for ways to help them sell more stuff to more people for more money, more efficiently, and of course, more often. After 30 years in the restaurant industry, I realized that clients the world over need assistance in discovering their story, then being able to verbalize it, and finally telling that story in a way that's both engaging and captivating to their audience. I'm a visual storyteller. By engaging with my clients to discover what drives them, motivates them, has brought them success, and of course, in understanding what their challenges are, I work alongside them to craft their story to assist them in telling it. I'm inspired by my clients. I take a personal interest in their success and enjoy nothing more than watching a campaign unfold and of course watching sales climb through the roof. One thing I've learned over the years is that anything that does not generate results is not only bullshit, but very expensive bullshit at that. How can I help you?
So there's my own kind of mini corporate video trying to sell corporate videos. Of course, that's what I'm trying to do there. And that just shows you what you can accomplish in about 30 minutes on your own phone. So now all I can say to you, besides the questions, which I'm sure there will be a few, go and have some fun, re-watch this video, slow it down as much as you want. It's very hard for me to slow things down completely because I'm not sure of the level of sophistication and interest of my audience. So I kind of talk through it in the hope that you'll watch the recording. Everything you need, every hint, tip, free resource that I've got is available to you. If you get stuck, you're always more than welcome to send me a video. I'll have a look at it. I'll give it a quick, I won't edit it for you. I'll give you some remarks. I'll tell you where I think you've missed a trick or you might have done something wrong, that your music's too loud or something like that. With the greatest of pleasure. I've been doing this for ages for Aut. So if you want to get hold of me, once again, it's WhatsApp on 081-398-2190. I'm happy to watch your videos. I prefer not to get your voice notes if possible. Or you can drop me an email with any resources you want. But in a nutshell, that is video editing on your phone from start to finish. It's easier than I made it, not harder, although you might need some practice. So I shall open it now to any questions. I see there are a couple of comments. Let me see if I can find them. Is finger dragging? Let me go up to the top here. Where we go here, Mark? Okay, let me start at the very first question. Andrew Buton. Is the 48 frames per second good for all lighting? Yes, it is for most lighting, Andrew. What you will then play with is you will play with your either the ISO or the aperture. You can play with that a little bit. But on the whole, I try and keep my speed at double my frame rate. And then I work with the ISO rather and the aperture, then mess around with those two. When you split a video during editing, does it leave the original in the folder intact and only split the duplicate you're editing? Yes, so you can, Gary, you can drag and drop it back on there and re-edit it. You've only edited that piece. You haven't destroyed the original. So the original is still intact. Is dragging accurate? Is there more? Yes, there is certainly a better way. You can find the exact point you want at that particular time, Corin, and then you can hit the scissors button and it'll snip off at that exact moment that you want it to do. Can I compress the video with VLLO Cello? No, you can't, but I did go on to compressing video a bit later on, so I hope I did answer that for you. You can make the video smaller, but I'd rather make the video full size and then compress it using Handbrake, which is really my go-to application for compressing the videos. Are these phone apps usable on a laptop? Ian, I'm actually not really sure if they are available. unless you've got an Android desktop set up. These are specific apps to use. I can tell you, if you really want to get a little bit fancy and prepare to go through the learning curve, there is something called DaVinci Resolve, which they actually make movies on. It's also 100% free. You need a pretty fast computer, and you need to go and study on YouTube. Go watch a couple of videos on how to do it, but you certainly can do that. So I just want to check here how I'll answer that privately to someone. I think that's answered that one. By the way, I do think, yes, that there are limits to the group. Michael, I think that's a WhatsApp rule. How people can be in a group. It's not the only difference I found between web, WhatsApp, and desktop is that I can send bigger videos by sending it there. So I hope I've answered any of those questions. If there are any others you'd like to ask me, as I say, just hold down your space bar. That's where astronauts meet for a drink. Hold down your space bar and hold it down while you're speaking, and I'll be able to hear you.
Mike, thank you very much. That was really informative.
Thank you, Alina. I hope it helps you. And if you get stuck, please just give a shout.
Thank you.
So, Mark, it looks like there's no further questions that have come through on the chat box or from the participants. Thank you so much for such an informative, incredible session. I think going forward now, for me personally, now that I've developed my Canvas skills, I'm definitely going to give the video shooting a try. I have sent a copy of the recording to all participants who joined us this morning. And before we close off today, Laurie is going to launch a poll just to get some feedback on the content that we have covered. And we really would appreciate it if you could all just tick the boxes that we have up on the screen. And this is going...
Everything's excellent and yes, as we expected.
Of course.
Literally, I'm just getting excellent yes.
Can I also answer, Laurie?
Of course you can.
And listen, everyone who's still on board, they're going to ask for donations just now. Sadly, I don't get any of that money, but they do need them. So please give generously.
Oh, Mark, thank you so much. Thank you. We so appreciate your punt. I don't need to do what I need to do. But as Mark said, he unfortunately doesn't get any of the proceeds. He gives so selflessly of his time, his expertise. He is always available to us as well as the AutoJet businesses. And we urge you, we encourage you, we ask you to please make a donation to AutoJet today to help us continue providing you with webinars such as this, world-class training and mentorship that assists businesses in their growth journey. So thank you so much for that.
You pledged. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for
in your name, Mark. Those donations will be in your name.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Mark, and everyone for joining us. We so appreciate it, and we wish you all a cool